Hi, it's me again. We're going to do chapter 3 in Vocabulary Power 2 today. So our first word is on page 19 and it's accurate. So the scientist was very careful with his experiment because he wanted accurate results. The earth is round is an accurate statement. So they give us the answer, it's correct. So if I say William is 4 feet tall, that's not accurate because William is at least 6 feet tall. Okay, so if it's accurate, it's correct. If it's not accurate, it's not correct. It might be close, but it's not 100% correct. 2 is classic. Spaghetti is a classic Italian food. Wooden shoes are a classic fashion in Holland. So do you think that's new, expensive, or typical or traditional? It's C, typical or traditional. So if I'm going to get married and wear a classic wedding dress, I'm going to wear a traditional style. I'm not going to go out and buy a red dress because that's not classic, right? Classic is a white full-length dress. Next is critic. The movie critic wrote that Lord of the Rings was a great film but too long. Food critics decide how many stars a restaurant should have. So do you think a critic means a food or movie lover, someone who reports whether something is good or bad, or a person who reads something? It's B. So a food critic would actually be a pretty good job. You get to go to different restaurants and you eat the food, and then you write a report and you say, oh, the food here is excellent. I give it 5 stars out of 5. Or, I don't eat at this place. It only got 2 stars out of 5. Okay. 4 is encourage. My parents encouraged me to read when I was a small child, taking me to the library often and praising me when I finished books. Is your best friend if your best friend wanted to become a doctor, would you encourage her to follow this dream? So is encourage to give confidence and support, to work hard, or to tell someone they can't do something? It's A. So if you come over and you help me with my computer every time I have a computer problem, I might say, you really should study IT. You're so good at computers. You really should do it. You're excellent. You're so smart. So encourage you to do it. 5 is exhibit. So there's an H in there, but we don't say, it's just exhibit. Plus the X sounds like eggs that we eat, so exhibit. So the Tate Museum in London is exhibiting many of Turner's paintings. The MIT Museum exhibits a robot named Kismet. So do you think that's to move, to find, or to show? It's C, to show. So you've probably all been to the Esplanade and they exhibit art in the gallery there. You can go and look at art or pictures that have been painted by local artists. And you can go to the Stampede. If you go to the Stampede, we couldn't go this year because of COVID, but normally they have a building where they exhibit art of all different kinds and the public can go and look at it. Okay, next is firm. The architects couldn't build the house on the beach. The foundation needed to be built on firm ground. If you ask somebody to marry you, you don't want this person to say maybe. Rather, you want to hear a firm answer. So is that solid or definite, weak or soft, attractive and interesting? It's A, solid or definite. Now, I don't know if you shop on Kijiji, but if you see an advertisement for something and someone says, I want $100 firm, means no negotiating. It's $100. Don't try to get me down to 90 or 80. It's 100 firm. Okay. That's different from if you just see $100, you can probably negotiate. Or if it says $100 OBO, that means or best offer. So if you offer me close to 100, I'll take it. But if it's 100 firm, don't come here with 90 and think I'll take 90. I won't. I'll only take 100. Okay, next. Number 7 is label. If you want to know what ingredients are in this soup, read the label on the can. To find out how to wash your shirt, look at the label inside it. So is that a container, a piece of metal, or a piece of paper on something that tells about it? It's C. Like when you get medication from the pharmacist, on the bottle there's a label and it'll say take 1 pill every 8 hours or whatever. Okay, 8 is prejudice. Henry, that man doesn't know you. If he hates you, it's because of the color of your skin or the place you come from. This is prejudice. If a white person won't sit next to a black person on the bus, do you think this is prejudice? So is prejudice an unfair feeling of dislike for someone, having an open mind, or friendliness? It's A. So prejudice is like racism. Right now in the news, you hear how a lot of police officers in the States and other places too, I guess, have been shooting black men because they're prejudiced or they're racist. Okay. 9 is process. The process of getting your driver's license in the United States is long. First, you should get your learner's permit. Next, you should take a driving class. Finally, you need to take a written test and a driving test. Learning a new language is a long and challenging process. You must practice grammar, speaking, listening, reading, and vocabulary to master the language. So is process a discussion, a series of actions that lead to a result, or improvement? It's B, a series of actions that lead to a result. So not just one action, but many actions, like writing a paragraph. First, make an outline. Second, write the paragraph. Third, edit the paragraph. Fourth, write the good copy. So it's a process. It takes time and lots of steps. And finally, we have tempt. I'm on a diet, so please don't tempt me with that chocolate cake. My sister tempted me to skip school on a beautiful spring afternoon. So do you think tempt is to not be interested in, to make someone want to do something, or to smell? It's B, to make someone want to do something that they shouldn't do, right? So if I'm on a diet, I shouldn't eat a piece of cake. So if you have cake and you go, here, Carol, here, why don't you have some cake? You know, just today, just eat the cake. It's really, really good. You're tempting me. You're making me want to eat the cake when I should not eat the cake. Okay? So let's pronounce these. I'll say them and you just say them back to me. So accurate, classic, critic, encourage, exhibit, firm, label, prejudice, process, tempt. Okay, let's quickly look at page 23. We have some other similar definitions. So critic, somebody whose job it is to give his or her judgment or opinion on something and say it's good or it's bad. So this could be restaurant food, it could be a movie, it could be a book, right? If I'm a book critic, I read the book and then I say, it was boring, 1 out of 5. If I thought it was awesome, I would say, oh yeah, 5 out of 5. You should all read it. Okay, and I would publish that in a book or a newspaper. Okay, a critic can also be someone who says that someone or something is bad or wrong. That's where the word criticize comes from. If you've ever heard the word criticize, it means somebody said something bad about me, right? So if I say, my husband criticized my cooking, he said something bad, like, oh, your cooking is horrible. I'm gonna die if I have to eat this. It's so bad. Tastes really awful. Okay, so critic would say something bad. Firm, again, solid or definite, not likely to move or change. Like my $100 firm. I'm not going to change my mind. I want $100. I don't want 90. I don't want 80. Okay, or a firm can be a business or small company. So when a group of lawyers get together and they open an office, they call it a law firm because it's a business that practices law. Okay, again, exhibit, to put something in a public place so people can see it. So like when you can see the art at the Esplanade or the Stampede. Exhibit can also be to show a quality, sign, emotion, etc. in a way that people easily notice. So you might talk to your son's teacher, and the teacher might say, well, he exhibits signs of frustration when he can't figure out an answer, right? So it's easy to see, right? He doesn't try to hide it. It's easy to look at him and he's going, right? So he exhibits frustration. I can see it on his face. Okay, now let's go to page 24. So accurate, remember that's 100% correct. So we use that with accurate information. Okay, we hear so much information about COVID. Some of it is accurate and some of it is not. Okay, a classic example is a good example, an example that is commonly heard, that people have used for a long time. Okay, firm can also be a firm handshake. So when you go to shake somebody's hand, right, you grab their hand fairly tightly, not so you're going to hurt them, but you really grab on, right, so you can really feel them really holding your hand fairly tightly. That's a firm handshake. A natural process, a series of actions, developments, or changes that happen naturally. So as we grow up from kids to adults, we go through a natural process. We start losing interest in playing with dolls and toy cars, and we start getting interested in the opposite sex, and so on and so on. Our interests change, and that's natural. It's normal. And tempt, remember, tempt is to make someone do something they shouldn't do. So if you're eating cake and I'm on a diet, I might say, oh, don't tempt me. Go eat that somewhere else. Because if I see it and I smell it, I'm going to want to eat it too. Okay? Or I'll be tempted to eat the cake. Okay? So good luck with chapter 3, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.